Okay, right. Hi everybody. So this session we're going to be focusing mainly on the vagus nerve. I'm just going to move back a bit so you can properly see me. Um, so the vagus nerve, I'm going to be doing some exercises specifically for the vagus nerve, which is the nerve that runs from basically from our brain all the way into our vital organs. Um, but most of the information, the interesting thing about the vagus nerve is most of the information in the vagus nerve actually goes upwards and not down. So we're receiving, the brain is constantly receiving information via the vagus nerve about the state of stuff that's going on in our body that we're not aware of. So when our vagus nerve is not um, what's called like a sort of flexible or active, then this can have an effect on our how we feel, and we're not really sure why that is. We can sort of subconsciously not feel quite right, and it's often because of these signals in the vagus nerve that we're just unaware of that the brain is receiving and picking up on, like something's not quite right here. I'm just going to change my glasses because I'm further away than I thought I would be. I know everything's a bit fuzzy, so this might be better. That's better, right? Okay, cool. Okay, so we're going to start, and some of you might have this in your regulation routine. We're going to start with humming bee breath. And humming bee breath is fantastic for the vagus nerve because we sort of get a double whammy with it, because we have the humming sound, which activates the nerve through the vibration that we make with the hum. And we also, when we do humming bee breath, we have a longer exhale than inhale. So every time we extend our exhale over our inhale, that again helps us to shift into our rest and digest state. So we've got this sort of double effect with humming bee breath. So if you haven't done it before, I'll talk you through it, but it's essentially we're going to inhale through the nose for around about 4 counts, and then we're going to exhale completely to the end of our breath, again through the nose. But as we exhale, we make a humming noise with the exhale. So we're going to do maybe like 10 or 20 rounds of that. You can do it just seated. You can do it lying down if you're more comfortable lying down as well. So just get yourself in a comfortable position. Before we start the humming bee breath, I'm just going to talk you through a quick scan. So um, you'll notice in most of the lessons, we always check in with ourselves before we change anything. We always check in how we are right now. So let's just do a little check-in before we start the humming bee breath. So you might want to just close your eyes or lower your gaze, because we're going to be bringing our attention internally rather than externally. So let's just start by focusing on our breath and just noticing how you're breathing right now. Is your breath quite fast and shallow, or is it slower and deep? So just check in with that. And if you're not sure, just place a hand on your chest and a hand on your tummy, and just notice which of your hands is moving the most. Is it your top hand or your bottom hand? So for me, it's definitely a tummy breath, because I've done a little bit of breath work before I started this session, so I'm nice and calm. But you just notice where you are. So if it's your top hand and you've got shallow, faster breathing, you're probably still in a more aroused state. If it's your lower hand, you're probably moving into a rested state. So we just do this with a little sense of curiosity, just to check in where we are. We're not making any judgments about what's right or wrong. It's just where our body is right now. It's not right, it's not wrong, it's just where we are. So just notice that before you start to change anything. Every time you do your practice, just checking in before you start your practice. Where are you? Where are you right now? How does your body feel right now? And you also might want to just do a quick scan. So remembering back to that felt sense in week 1, just very quick scan from your head. So let's start at the forehead, moving down the face to the jaw, just noticing your jaw, and are your teeth just slightly apart, or are they more clenched? And again, your tongue, is your tongue just resting lightly on the roof of your mouth, or is it pressing quite firmly? Noticing your shoulders, so are your shoulders sort of relaxed and back, or are they a little up today? Noticing your chest as you're breathing in and out. Is your chest rising and falling quite freely, or does it feel like there's a little bit of resistance as you're inhaling and exhaling now? And again, we move down to the tummy, just noticing if the tummy is rising and falling freely, or have you got a little bracing in the tummy? How about legs? So just noticing the top of the legs, calves, shins. How relaxed does that all feel? Does that feel like it's quite relaxed, settled, or again, are you sort of gripping slightly? A good way to tell whether the tops of the legs, so the quads here, that is gripping, is just notice your kneecaps. And if your kneecaps are slightly raised, that's because you're tensing those muscles. So just noticing that. And then let's move to our feet. And just notice with your feet, are your feet nice and flat and relaxed on the floor, or are they slightly curled? So we're not changing anything, but we're just noticing where we are right at this moment. And then we just take a couple of moments just to have a bit of stillness, breathing in and out through the nose. And we're not changing the breath at the moment, but just breathing in and out nice and gently and easily through the nose. And then when you're ready, we're going to start the hummingbee breath. So we're going to inhale for 4 counts and exhale right to the end of our breath with a hum. So with me, inhaling, 2, 3, 4, and exhaling with a hum. And again, inhaling, exhaling with a hum. And again, in and exhaling. And again. On this next one, just see if you can let your lips be really loose so the vibration really vibrates all the way through your lips, your mouth, your jaw. Inhaling. And again, inhaling. Inhaling. Just letting go of that. And just reminding you, if you're doing this practice on your own, the sign that your body's starting to shift into that rested state, you're just looking for a sign that your mouth is watering a little more than it was, or you need to yawn, or you have an urge to swallow. So these are all signs that we're shifting into that rest and digest state. So you can do that a little longer if you want to, if you're doing this at home, just until you feel that sign. Okay, so I'm going to move on. These are all vagus nerve exercises. So you can do them all in one go, or you could do like 5 or 10 minutes, just do a couple. But I've made them sort of quite small, so you can cut this into chunks if you wanted, and just pick a couple that you like. So the next one we're going to do, which is quite good for the vagus nerve, is it's called peripheral vision. So, and it works similar to if anyone's had EMDR, eye movement desensitization. It's working similarly in that we're going to be using our gaze to help. So we're going to start by just softening our gaze. So if you can, wherever you're sitting, just pick something that's, so my laptop is, I don't know, about 2 feet away from me. So pick something around about that sort of distance and just place your gaze on it, but then soften your gaze so that it goes out of focus, so that your eyes are not really staring at it. So they're nice and your eyes are nice and relaxed, and the focus is slightly blurred on that object. And as you do that, we're just going to breathe gently in and out the nose for 2 or 3 breaths, just focusing on that object, keeping the gaze soft. And in again, and out again. Let's do one more. In through the nose, and out through the nose. And now I just want you to be aware of your peripheral vision. So without turning the head, we're going to keep the head facing forwards and a focus on that object. But I just want you to notice, again, not straining the eyes. So we're not bringing anything into vision, but just start with something that's about this far in terms of angles away from what you're looking at. And now as we breathe in and out through the nose, we're just going to expand that field of vision without turning our head. Breathing in and out through the nose gently, slowly expanding. And you might want to do this with your hands. This really helps because I can still see my thumbs here. So we're just being aware. You just keep going until that field of vision, I've hit my desk leg, until that field of vision is no longer there. And we're just going to do that a couple of times. So let's come back to the front again. Soften the gaze. Just inhaling in and out through the nose. And now just slowly, slowly with the hands. Nice soft gaze. So just notice your eyelids and your forehead and just see if you can soften your eyelids and forehead as you're doing this. You're breathing in and out through your nose. When you get to the end of your vision, as far as you can see, just come back to the center and we'll just do that once more. So in and out through the nose again. Gently starting that, expanding. Nice soft gaze. Soften the eyelids, soften the forehead. Good, and just letting that go. Excellent. So now we just do a little bit of neck work, just very gentle neck stretching and just a little bit of manual massage down the neck just to help stimulate the vagus nerve. So we're just going to start with just very gentle head rolls. So just starting by tucking the chin, and then you're just going to look over your your right, that's my right, isn't it? Your right shoulder. Coming back to the center, just go really slow and gentle. Over the left shoulder. Bring attention to the shoulders. So just bringing your shoulders down, just noticing if your shoulders are up, bringing them down. Back to the center. So now let's bring the breath in. So as we come back to the center, let's inhale. Inhaling all the way around to the right side. Stop a second. Exhale there. Inhaling again. Tucking the chin all the way around to the left side. Exhaling here. Inhaling very slowly, gently. Exhaling. Inhaling, just coming back to the center. Now we're just going to look up and down. If you have vertigo, don't look all the way up. So just keep you might just want to go tuck the chin and then look forward. Don't look up to the ceiling because that will activate your vertigo if you suffer from vertigo. So if you're going to do the full thing with me, we're just going to inhale, tuck our chin, and now exhaling. This is all through the nose for you. Up to the sky. Inhaling. Exhaling. Inhaling. Exhaling. Good. I'm just coming back to center. Just give the shoulders a little roll. So this one is a sort of a test of your flexibility of your vagus nerve or your ability of your vagus nerve to activate. So you may have to try this a few times. It's slightly weird, but it's a very good one to try. I wouldn't do it every day, but you might want to try it like once a week or once every 3 or 4 days just to see whether this response has improved. So I'm going to describe it first and then we'll do it together. What we're going to do is inhale, and then we're going to pinch our nose after we've inhaled, and we're going to go make a movement like we're going to exhale through our nose, but obviously we won't be able to because we're pinching our nose. And as we do that, like we're going to exhale, we're going to swallow. But we're going to be doing this whilst we're looking to the right hand side. So let me show you what it looks like. So we inhale, pinch our nose, turn our head, and then we look, and then we're going to. I need to inhale again because I've spoken, but I'm just going to describe it to you first because it is slightly weird. And then we're going to try to exhale out our nose, but we won't be able to because we're pinching our nose. And at that point, we then swallow. So we swallow, then we come back to the center. Do that with me. It may take you a while. You might have to hold that position for a little while before you're able to swallow. And if that's the case, that's fine. Just hold that position. I've had people do this where you can't swallow. Don't force it. If you can't, don't force it. And if you're, again, if you're doing this at home and watching the playback, if you're finding it really hard to swallow, what you can do is go back to that humming bee breath. And if you do that humming bee breath until you get those little triggers, like the yawning or the urge to swallow, come back to this exercise. You should find it a lot easier. So let's try it together. So inhaling, pinching the nose, turning to the right, exhaling as if we were going to exhale, swallow, come back to the center. And then we're going to do the same, but we're going to turn to the left. So inhale, pinch the nose, turn to the left, push the air out, or as if we're going to, and swallow. Come back to center, let go. I'll give you a moment in case you were taking a while to get to that swallow. We're going to do the opposite way around now. So we're going to swallow on the inhale, which is slightly easier because the inhale is going in the same way as the swallow, the same sort of movement. So with this one, we exhale through the nose, then we pinch the nose, and then we try to inhale and swallow on as we try to inhale. So exhaling out the nose, turning, trying to inhale and swallow. So back to center. So go the nose a minute. So let's go again. Exhaling out the nose. Hold, turn to the left. Try to inhale and swallow. Turn back. Okay, so that one is, it's not really it's not going to improve your what's called vagal tone or the flexibility of your vagus nerve, but it is a good test as to how flexible it is, how quickly you're able to get that swallow response going. Okay, so let's now do. We're just going to do some little bit more of neck stretches, and then we're going to lie down. So wherever you are, just find a place that you can lie down after this next exercise. So this next exercise you can do seated, like I am, or you can come up onto your knees. Is quite a nice way to do it. So I'm actually going to come up onto my knees because I prefer it that way. You'll get slightly more stretch. Just come back a bit so you can see. Slightly more stretch if you're on your knees. So what we're going to do, we're going to start with our right hand, and we're just going to put our right hand either onto the floor. So the main thing is we want this part of our shoulder and our arm straight. So we want this part of our shoulder feeling like we've got some stretch going in it, about a 4 out of 10 stretch. So we don't want it to be like a massive stretch, but about a 4 out of 10 in intensity. So you find where that is for you, whether that's sort of fingertips on the floor. If you're seated, you could just put, and you're on a chair, you could put your hand flat on your chair, or you could even put your hand on your thigh. But if that is causing your shoulder to hitch up, that we're not getting enough stretch there. So just find out where is a good place to have that. So it's your right hand, wherever you find is good. And then we're going to take our left hand and just bring it onto the top of the opposite side of our head. So we've now got our right hand stretched down, left hand on the opposite side of our head. And then we just gently allow the weight of our left hand to bring our head over to the left side. And you'll feel that all the way down this side of the neck. So this is helping. The vagus nerve runs under a muscle called the sternocleidomastoid, or SCM for short, for people that don't like the mouthful of that, in the neck. So this is stretching that muscle. So by stretching that muscle, we help to release that nerve as well. So we just hold, when we're holding these positions, and you'll see in the videos in the release with the body, but we are just breathing through the nose, in and out through the nose, giving the signal of safety to the body, because if the body doesn't feel safe, then your body will just tense up and you won't get the release. So we just hold in this position at about a 4 out of 10. Any more than that, again, and the body's going to tense and brace because it's going to be uncomfortable. And we just breathe in and out through the nose, always checking that edge. So that 4 out of 10 will change. Um, you'll either find that things start to open up and then you can shift your head a little more, or sometimes the body will go, no, don't like that, and things start to close up. And if that's the case, just let go of it a little until you're back at 4 again. So we always want to be around about 4, not putting the body under any stress, because we need to create safety for release. So whenever the body screams at you by just closing up and going, I don't like that, then we ease off. Okay, we just let go of that and just roll the shoulders around a little bit. And you might want to just move the head left to right just to ease that off. And then we're going to do the other side, and you'll probably find one side is a lot tighter than the other, at least I do anyway. So the other side, we take the left hand, place that on the floor or wherever you've chosen for your position. Take the right hand, bring it across the top of the head, just gently, again, just gently letting the weight of that hand and that arm just gently pull your head across until you feel about a 4 out of 10. Breathing in and out through the nose. So nice slow breaths in and out through the nose. Checking in on that 4 out of 10. Just noticing if you need to make any adjustments, if you're over 4 now or under 4. So this constant adjustment with the stretching is a bit like our everyday practice when we're checking in with our window of tolerance. Constant adjustment to keep ourselves within that window of tolerance, being aware the whole time, checking in with our bodies, connecting with our bodies. Just focusing on breathing through the nose and then just gently let that go. Again, a few rolls of the shoulders. And just gently moving the head left to right just to ease that up again. Let the head be free. Okay, so the next exercise, it's not really an exercise actually, we're going to lie on our backs, but we're going to do some breathing into the back of the body, which is really nice for sort of opening up the lungs. So you find wherever's comfortable for you. If you're at home, you can go in your bed if that's comfy for you. I'm just going to grab a pillow because I might need to have my head up so I can see you all. I don't want the neck getting ripped. Okay, there we go. Right. So just find yourself somewhere comfy. And you can have something under your head. You don't have to have your neck or anything straight. And we're just going to have our knees bent and our feet flat on the floor. So my feet are just flat on the floor, my legs bent. And then you just lie yourself down. And we just start by breathing in and out through the nose gently. So just a few breaths here. You can close your eyes if you find that easier. And then we're going to really bring focus as we exhale and inhale. Just bringing attention to the back of the body. So we're going to imagine that the breath is really going into the mat or the bed or whatever you're lying on, rather than in the front of the body. So on the next, let's inhale. And now just imagine in our mind's eye that the breath is coming through the nostrils, back down the back of the neck and down the back of the spine. And then really push your back into the floor or the bed as you inhale. So pushing and imagining that breath going down there onto the back part of the body. Exhale. So just going to do that again. And I want you to see as you do the push, just see if you can just notice now, where does your back touch the floor or the bed beneath you? Which parts are touching and which parts have you got little gaps? And then when you do that inhale and push, just see if you can close those little gaps, like it's bubble wrap and you're just pushing the air out. So again, inhaling into the back of the body and just pushing down, pushing down. You might want to tilt your pelvis slightly if you've got gaps in your lower back. So just pushing, imagine that air going all the way to the floor, exhaling again through the nose. Let's do that again. Inhaling, air comes down the throat, down the back of the body. Push, push, push into the floor, tilt the pelvis if you need to. Exhaling. Just do that again. I've just noticed when I'm saying push, 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 I'm actually clenching my hands. So just try to keep your hands and feet relaxed if you can. And we're just focusing on that. That push is just really, it's like a flattening of the back. So inhaling, breath coming down the spine, into the back, just flattening all those little gaps in the spine, the back, exhaling. And again, inhale, flattening all those gaps, exhaling. One more inhale, flattening all those gaps, and exhaling. Excellent. Well done, everyone. Okay, we just come up to seated. So all those little exercises are really good for stimulating your vagus nerve. You can do all of them. You can do choose a few, the ones that you like, and do them. You can do one after your breath work, and then do that little test, that little swallow test is a good one to see like how quickly your vagus nerve is responding. So I'm just going to press pause on the recording or stop on the recording,